Every once in a while, there's an advancement in technology so profound it impacts every aspect of human life and productivity. Automobiles, airplanes, computer processors, and now artificial intelligence. Well, AI isn't new. Recent developments have vastly improved and accelerated mainstream adoption of AI capabilities and enhancements, so much so that it can be overwhelming to keep up and understand how it's impacting areas of importance to us, such as partnerships and influencer marketing. That's what we're unpacking in today's episode of Partnership Unpacked. This is Partnership Unpacked, your go-to guide to growing your business through partnerships quickly. I'm your host, Mike Alton, and each episode unpacks the winning strategies and latest trends from influencer marketing to brand partnerships and ideas that you can apply to your own business to grow exponentially. And now, the rest of today's episode. Have you ever ridden Walt Disney's Carousel of Progress? It's a serene and relaxing ride in Tomorrowland that capers through the decades of American innovation development, from electricity to refrigerators to virtual reality and voice assistants. The pervading character, voiced by the same guy who narrated The Christmas Story, always remarks after each decade on how much progress they've made and how easy they've got it now. Imagine what we will be saying soon about how artificial intelligence has become a part of our everyday lives, particularly when it comes to business processes like content creation, optimization, and yes, even influencer marketing and partnerships. Wondering how AI can and should be a part of your organization? That's exactly what our guest today, Jeff Fransen, is here to help us with. Jeff's been in the influencer marketing space for over 9 years and has worked with brands like NASA, Uber, and Tops. He now leads partnerships and alliances for Affable.ai, an award-winning influencer marketing SaaS solution that helps marketers run fast and intelligent campaigns built on Affable's proprietary AI and machine learning technology. Hey, Jeff, welcome to the show. How you doing?
Hey, Mike, I'm doing great. Thank you so much for having me on today.
My pleasure. The first thing I want to ask you, what I want you to share with our audience, is basically just a little bit of context. How did you first break into influencer marketing and partnerships? Because I rattled off 3 brands in your career history that have like nothing to do with influencer marketing. So why are you doing what you do today?
Yeah, great question. So my first role in partnerships was actually at Uber, where I was auditing their driver partners. So I wasn't sure what I was getting into, but basically I had to go through and make sure that all of them had their documents in order and make sure that the New York market was set and compliant. Not the most exciting thing that I've ever done, but that was my first step in partnerships. A little bit after that, my girlfriend at the time, who I eventually married, she came to me. She was writing a blog while she was working at CBS, and she wanted to figure out how to make money blogging. So I said, I don't know how to do that, but I'll go and try to figure it out for you. So I started working at a long tail blog sponsorship platform. And when I was there, I started to learn a little bit about what was going on and how things worked. And I was in sales, so I'd reach out to marketing companies and try to get them to work with lots of bloggers at the same time. And at that point, marketers really weren't sold on influencer marketing. It really wasn't even called influencer marketing yet. But I basically would fail forward. And when the marketers didn't want to spend 10K, I'd say, hey, what about this one over here? Just kind of give it a try and see if it works. So that's where her first brand sponsorships came from. From there, she became an influencer. We worked with tons of brands. I ended up moving on to other influencer platforms in the past that were in early development. And after that, I worked at a viral website where I partnered with influencers and ended up getting over 400 million link clicks through Facebook partnerships. So that's how I got into it.
That's fascinating. We may come back to that, but I know you're working for a different company now, and I want to make sure that you have a chance to talk to us about Affable. Tell us about the work that you're doing there and how that company helps brands work with influencers today.
Yeah, thanks. So Affable.ai is an end-to-end influencer marketing platform that uses AI and machine learning to make the process easier and better. So at the company in the partnerships role, I generally partner with tech companies trying to do referral partnerships and co-marketing, but also I'll partner with agencies who can run campaigns on our platform for brands. And then it extends even further into setting up our events, in-person events, helping with other podcasts and marketing, and really trying to like pull our company together and connect with the larger ecosystem out there.
Yeah, I can relate with everything you just said. I'm working with our influencers, I work with our brand partners, and I also happen to run our events at Agora Pulse. We have a VIP dinner coming up. We've got an in-person event that we're going to be at soon, and I'm in charge of all the booth and logistics and making sure everybody's there. And then I run our virtual summit. So yeah, I wear a
Yep.
lot of just like you.
Yeah, partnerships people have tons of hats in their closet for sure.
Right, right. Let's get to AI because AI has exploded into the mainstream news, recently. ChatGPT and OpenAI and Google and everyone, they're in the news every single day. How have you seen influencer marketing change as a result of this new explosion of AI?
Yeah, absolutely. So we're excited to have recently we rolled out a new feature called Magic Search using generative AI powered by Google Cloud. So that's our current foray into generative AI. We've been using AI and machine learning from the beginning. What we do with the AI is we pull data from about 8 million influencers around the world across Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, Twitter, and Facebook. And we allow the brand marketers to dive deep into each of them without the influencers needing to opt in. So basically, we pull all the available data through the APIs that we can. So imagine brand tags, location check ins, even the images, our machine learning will analyze those, the captions, everything you could imagine. And we pull it together and create media kits for each influencer. So the brands can find the influencers that they're looking for and then vet them to their standards. So with the generative AI, what's really exciting is that we've taken that easy process and made it even faster and more simple. So with our magic search feature, what we're able to do is offer a situation where the marketer can just type in whatever type of influencer they're looking for in plain language, and the system will surface the right ones. And beyond that, we can actually upload an image like a mood board, and just off that, the most relevant influencers will be surfaced. So, like overall, what this generative AI is allowing us to offer is a chance for brands to scale their micro influencer program. So it's really important that marketers use their budget as efficiently as possible. And traditionally, it's difficult to find the right influencers and be able to manage a lot of them. So with our generative AI, it basically makes it 10 times easier and faster to do the things that marketers are already trying to do, but it allows you to reach more of the targeted audiences that these smaller influencers have gained. And the reason that smaller influencers can be better than bigger influencers is because usually their audiences are going to be more focused on the thing that that influencer is talking about. Whereas if you have a major influencer, say like a celebrity with 5 million followers, a lot of them will just be kind of all over the place. And a lot of that budget will kind of go to waste. But by being able to scale micro influencers without using massive amounts of work hours, it really makes the whole process much, much more efficient and effective.
I love that you talked about micro influencers because you're 100% correct. They have generally a much more targeted audience. They may not have the same kind of level of contracts. So they may not be quite as busy, certainly not as expensive as a mega influencer. But to your point, the challenge there is that we don't necessarily know off the top of our heads who the micro influencers are. I bring up this point all the time. Everybody knows who the biggest names are in their industry. They're the biggest names, but that means they're macro, maybe even mega influencers. You want to go a step down to a smaller sized influencer with a smaller audience, a smaller budget. And I love that generative AI is helping businesses today to find, identify those influencers. Is it helping them? Are there ways that it's helping to work with the influencers beyond just identification?
Yeah, so some of the features that we're going to be adding in the near future are generative email outreach. So right now we have templates, which makes it somewhat easier, but very soon we're going to be offering a feature where the email will be written specifically to one influencer, and that'll be scaled across. You can reach out to 100 at the same time, and AI will generate that. And then it also generate responses to the emails that the influencer send back to you. And obviously, the marketer will be right there to edit anything that needs to be done, because I do firmly believe that AI works best with a human. I think the human element is still very important. So they're not coming to take everybody's jobs. It's just important to get into the AI technology, into the world of it, and getting used to it so that you can work with AI. So yeah, generating responses and emails is going to be big. And then also when the influencers upload their content for the brand to review, the AI will be able to analyze those images to make sure that they're meeting the brand narrative and there's no red flags for the content. So those are some of the upcoming things that we're going to be offering soon.
That's terrific, particularly the generative aspect of email communication. That's so important because, like you said, you've got templates now. And unfortunately, as an influencer or a brand, we're all used to being on the receiving end of obvious templated emails. Not to say that yours is necessarily obvious, but that's a issue that pervades the entire industry, where you've got people reaching out and pitching email campaigns, or they're pitching a guest blog post, or they're pitching a influencer marketing campaign, or a relationship, and they're using a template that's not personalized for that individual at all. They haven't taken a lot of time to really think about how does this come across to that individual, and so it reads like a template. And if you've been on the receiving end enough times, you know it's a template right away. I even have friends, I'm not going to name names, but they will put like emoji in their like LinkedIn username and that sort of thing. So when they get an email template or outreach template, it says hi emoji instead of hi first name. And so they instantly know they're being reached out to by a bot and automation. So that's a fantastic improvement. And like you said, as long as there's a human there who's looking at it and making sure that this is proper content to be going out, whether it's an outreach email or response, the simple fact that the AI is helping to create that content is going to help you scale, going to speed things along, and make sure that the messaging that's going out is really good. I've been on the receiving end of some not templated bad emails as well. So that's influencer marketing. How about partnerships? Whether you've seen it in the industry or maybe you yourself in your role, what are some ways that AI is already helping brands leverage partnerships?
Yeah, so one of the roles as a partnerships manager is doing co-marketing. So for me, generative AI has been helpful. I like to use Bard. It's the Google version of ChatGPT, and it's really helpful for getting started with co-marketing blog posts. It can go in, I can ask it to learn about the partner company, learn about Affable, and then write a blog post to whatever audience I'm trying to reach. And it gives me a first draft. So I'll be able to take that draft and then go over it, and as if I'm an editor instead of a writer, then rework that blog post and turn it into something that we're able to publish. So for me, that's been one of the biggest ways that AI has been helping me move partnerships forward.
That is so cool. I've used Bard. I love it. I use it to come up with all kinds of ideas for newsletters and blog posts. Hadn't occurred to me to use it with partners to come up with ideas for co-marketing content, outlines, and so on. That's fantastic. We're talking with Jeff Fransen about AI, and I've got a quick message for you from our CMO at Agorapulse on how we're integrating AI into our own product.
Hey there, Daryl Braille, Chief Marketing Officer here at Agorapulse, the industry's best social media management platform. I gotta tell you, I love AI. Why? I don't view it as a threat. Rather, it makes me better. It's a colleague. It's a collaborator. Let's say I do a social media post, but you know what? I'm a little long-winded. I want it shorter. Maybe I want it longer. Maybe I want it punchier, more assertive, more inspirational, more funny. That's what our writing assistant does. Check it out, agorapulse.com.
Jeff, I love that you mentioned how important it is to treat the AI like it's an assistant, right? It's something Daryl mentioned in that video as well, and it's something that I really espouse. We work a lot with Katie Richmond, and this is something she preaches, that treat the AI like it's an intern. that's working with you. When you're approaching partnerships, how has AI changed that approach or how you look at working with different brand partners?
So, what I'm trying to do differently in terms of AI and partnerships is I'm trying to look to the future for building a new ecosystem of partnerships around e-commerce. So, we've got a ton of great traditional partners and traditional technology. But as one of the leaders in our space in artificial intelligence, I'm trying to connect with other companies that are doing the same thing. So I just think that the future is going to be driven by AI. So I want my ecosystem to be reflective of that. So that for me, that's the biggest thing is trying to identify the partners who have AI systems that are going to complement each other. And if we have a customer that loves the fact that we use generative I want to be able to introduce him to another company that does a different thing within the space that also offers similar technologies. So I think that's going to be huge for us moving forward.
That's so cool. I love your answer because it's not what one might expect when asking that kind of question, because a lot of people might talk about the different tools that are available to help them in that role as a partnership or whoever it is it's asking the question and thinking about an answer. But what you're saying is a really different perspective that I enjoy, which was that we're also looking for brand partners that are utilizing and seeing the potential of AI like we do. So it's really interesting. It's like having someone who shares your values when it comes to AI and having them come alongside as a partner. That's really cool. I love that. Where do you see AI impacting and driving influencer marketing partnerships in the coming years, just across the industry?
Yeah, so I definitely think that technologies like Affable will be powering the future of influencer marketing across the industry. Like I said, doing influencer marketing manually can be incredibly time consuming. A lot of the times it's really hard to vet influencers. Do you know if they have fake followers or not? That's something that we're able to analyze. And then the whole process of doing that outreach, identifying the influencers, first of all, uh, going through the whole negotiation process, pulling in the content, and then generating reports on the performance on the back end. It can be so time consuming. And to be able to do that in a scalable manner, I think that that's where the AI is just going to continue to just provide so much value for brands. And beyond that, I think that we're going to find that there's room for AI to help the entire process. So I'm just very bullish on the fact that influencer marketing is going to be very much driving the future of growing these partnerships.
No, I love that because one of the things that I find myself doing now on a daily basis is trying to think objectively about the processes that I currently have in place, the tasks that I'm doing over and over again. And as I read about and learn about new AI tools, because there are new ones every day, I literally get an inbox newsletter with new AI tools. I'm trying to be cognizant of how I might use some of these new tools, how I might use some of these new ways to prompt and get help and information. A friend of mine sent me a AI tool called Pi, and it's designed to simply have a conversation with the artificial intelligence and created a business plan in my first conversation with this assistant. And it was impressive. The conversation style and the questions it would ask me, which wasn't used to, having used like ChatGPT and so on. That's more like you ask the question, and it gives you an answer, period. This one, Pi would answer my question and then flip it around, right? I'd say something like, we're doing email marketing to promote an event, and it would say, "Oh, that's great. How was your conversion rate on those emails?" I'm like, "What?"
That's amazing.
It was so amazing. So I'm trying to be open-minded about the tools that I see. And like I said, trying to be aware of the things that I'm doing today. That way I can become aware of how AI can help me in my job. So, with that said, for the CMOs in the audience that are listening, for the partnership leaders in the audience that are listening who may be somewhat new to partnerships and new to influencer marketing, what tips do you have for them? And this could be related to AI or not.
Sure. So I would say that along the lines that real estate has always been about location, location, location. I think the partnership space is all about alignment, alignment, alignment. If you partner with a company and they don't really service the same ICP, maybe they're servicing smaller companies and you're servicing some bigger companies, you might not find very much overlap. So it's really important that you find either other companies to partner with, or same goes for influencers. Find the ones that are aligned with what you're already doing and what you're trying to achieve, and they do something a little bit different. So for tech, it could be, for us, it's, maybe a company that services the payments on the back end of the influencer campaign, or whitelisting, something that we don't do. So that's where we've had some success. And for influencers, that's where they have the same audience that, that you're trying to reach, but they're already creating content that maybe you're not able to create. Or, it's always great to have the influencers speak about your brand to give you some social proof. But yeah, at the end of the day, just make sure that there's alignment across as many different categories as possible, so that you're going to be able to, share insights, share customers, co-market, and, be able to reach the same audience together, but sharing each other's message.
Couldn't agree more. I had a very similar conversation just yesterday with Robin Diamond at Fifth and Core on her podcast. And what I'd love to add to what you just said, to piggyback, is that businesses should know who their ICP is from the start. If you haven't thought through who your target audience is, make sure you've gone through that exercise and you've got one or more ICPs in place. That makes it so much easier to identify great influencers to work with, great partners to come alongside, and you'll know whether or not they have your target audience as part of their target audience. And if you want to verify that, quick tip for those of you listening, we've had Jared Fuller on the show before, so you may have heard me talk about Reveal, but Reveal is something where you can plug in your CRM and your partners can plug in their CRM, and you'll literally see where you've got overlap between prospects and clients, and you can work with them on some co-selling motions. Super cool. Jeff, I've got one more question for you, and it's my favorite question to ask because everyone's answer is a little bit different, but it's so important. How important have relationships been to your career and your professional development?
Yeah, I mean, in the partnership space, it's really everything. Without relationships with my partners, nothing could really get done. I'd say even like getting this job, I had, one of my friends from a previous company was there while I was going through the job seeking motions, and he supported me throughout the process. He pushed me. He told me how much he thought of me and what I was able to accomplish when we worked together, and he believed in me. And so having him, be there kind of standing behind me, that meant the world to me. So thanks, Stefan. And then in terms of partnerships, just being able to, grow those relationships often springboards you into the next thing. So say Sarah from Yotpo, I've talked to her in the past. I met her in New York. She brought me into her Slack channel. And from there, I was able to get some great information about events to go to and other people to connect with. So, the relationships in partnerships, it's something that it's an investment. It takes time, but the more you do it, like the more you can grow these relationships, the more you'll get out of it in terms of information and meeting new people and getting more referrals and building new business. So yeah, it's absolutely a relationship game. And same with influencer marketing. Like with influencers, if you just kind of reach out and you're cold and you just try to make it a transactional situation, you might not get the best responses. They might even like offer, like higher rates for you to pay. But if they like you, if you reach out and you try to understand where they're coming from and give them compliments about the work that they've done in the past and make them feel good, and then support them throughout, the process of your campaign and all those kinds of things. If they perform well and they want to work with you again and again, those kinds of things can really drive massive results and long-term growth.
I couldn't agree more. And you brought up a point that I don't think anybody's ever raised before, which is that if you're developing strong, healthy, positive relationships with influencers, not only is that going to create more effective campaigns, it will probably save you money because they're not going to charge you as much if they like you. And I couldn't agree with that more. I can think of, I'm not going to name names because they've asked me not to share their rates, but I can think of a couple of big time influencers who gave me a friends and family kind of a discount, a deep discount off of their sticker rate for speaking at an event, purely because of the relationship that saved Agorapulse money. Hint, hint, CMO, are you listening? I saved you money. So I love that you answered that way. Thank you so much, Jeff. This has been so terrific. Let everybody know where they can follow you, learn more about you, and learn more about Affable.
Sure, thanks. So you can find me on LinkedIn, Jeff Fransen, and just, go check out affable.ai. If you want to get a demo, if you want a free trial, you can sign up there, or feel free to email me at jeff@affable.ai, and I'll be happy to point you in the right direction. And, AI-driven e-commerce tech, feel free to reach out as well. I'm looking forward to meeting all you.
Awesome. Thank you, Jeff. And thank you for listening to today's show. If you haven't been able to tell so far, we're talking more and more about AI and influencer marketing on this podcast. So please subscribe and let us know if that's something you want to know even more about. I've got many more guests lined up to talk about AI and how it's changing the world. Until next time. Thank you for listening to another episode of Partnership Unpacked, hosted by Mike Alton and powered by Agorapulse, the #1 rated social media management solution, which you can learn more about at agorapulse.com. If you enjoyed this episode, please subscribe on your favorite podcast player. Be sure to leave us a review. Your feedback is important to us. And if you want to be part of our audience during live broadcasts, take a look at our calendar at agorapulse.com/